Oh, y'all can't hear me. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here talking to myself. Good morning here, guys. Today is Friday. We got Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations data going on at 10 a.m. We got gold breaking all-time highs here. New all-time high for gold is now 3,017. Nvidia back up to almost 117s. We got the Q up to 473.50s or so, 474. So market's bouncing back a little bit after testing lows yesterday. Today's a big day, honestly. It's an incredibly important day. The reason today is important is simple. Today is important because we are still around the low of the last 5 months. We now have a triple bottom at basically 19,200. We bounced off that level numerous times. And, we're looking okay. I'm a little sketched out, to be honest, by the market. And we did make a lie yesterday. But I really am a little sketched out about the market here. I don't necessarily... I'm not the most optimistic person for the stock market right now. I'm really not the most optimistic person for the stock market right now. And yeah, we'll see what it looks like, honestly. I still think the market might come back down and break lows. I think yesterday we went on Top Step TV, honestly had some beautiful calls. Like literally everything we said would happen happened. It was one of my favorite shows, and it's honestly making me think I should trade Power Hour more often, because I literally went into Top Step TV yesterday. As soon as I went in, my thesis the whole day was like, hey, if we break under, let me show you guys where. So here's the NQ here, which is what we were trading. So my whole thesis yesterday was like, yo, if we break under, if we break under 19.4, I think 19.4 is going to hold as resistance. I think we're going to move back down. Let me figure out where we were. We were way back here. So I said, yeah, I think if we break under 19.4, we're going to keep coming down, retest lows. And that's what we did. Look, we rejected 19.4s. Literally everything we said would happen. And so it felt really good to get in there and really confidence building, to be honest. Oh, is my music too loud? My bad, guys. Let me turn it down a little bit. Let me know if that's too low. Here, let me make sure. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Hey, what's up, G? Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, dude. Shout out to G. I'm not getting sick, man. I feel great. Honestly, I've been up since 4 a.m. this morning. I fell asleep at 7 o'clock yesterday. It's a busy week. Yeah. Hey. Feels good, man. Feels good, dude. Honestly, my trading has been really well. Yesterday we made hundreds. I ended up making $250, $300 yesterday on Top Step TV. And so yeah, we've been doing really well. But thank you, G man. I appreciate it, brother. I'll send you the Discord a little bit later. Yeah, so it looks like the government shutdown is looking less likely now as well. We got some news to talk about here in economics markets. And so, yeah, so again, we posted this on our X page, but S&P is entered correction territory. It's now over 10% from its recent highs. This is mostly due to tariffs and trade tensions. The Dow Jones went down 0.4% over the last 24 hours. NASDAQ Composite dropped 1%. Big sell-offs in tech. Today, we have the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. It's expected to show a slight decline to 64 in March from 64.7 in February, indicating persistent concerns about the economic outlook among consumers. We also have inflation expectations that dropped today live at 10 o'clock. The Senate Dems have indicated support for a Republican-drafted funding bill, reducing the likelihood of a government shutdown, which is probably one of the reasons the market is bouncing back some today. Because of the reduced chance of a gov shutdown. It's probably what's going on, but who knows for sure. Again, the president's recent tariff threats have intensified the global trade war. European Union has announced counter tariffs on approximately $28 billion worth of U.S. goods, including bourbon, whiskey, boats, motorcycles, and more. These developments contribute to market volatility and uncertainty. We have bond yields have risen following the Senate Dems are likely to support the bill to avoid a U.S. government shutdown. So bond yields have increased. 10-year treasury went up to 4.33%. Gold, again, guys, recently broke all-time highs. Now, over all-time highs here. I am drinking what's called Danger Coffee. Danger Coffee. It's supposed to be like mold-free, healthy coffee. It might be a gimmick, but hey. Yeah, we are here. Let me do a poll here. I'm going to do a poll right now, guys. Let me know how you feel. I'm going to say, does the NASDAQ, here, this is going to be a very specific poll. Does the NASDAQ, does the NQ break below $19,120, which is the 5-month low? Wait, September, October, November, December, January. Yeah. Or 6-month low. Within the next week. Yes or no, vote on this poll. Let me know how you feel. Basically, does the NASDAQ break under these brutal, brutal lows? Oh, wait, is it the rollover? Yeah, we're here. Appreciate the donations, guys. Appreciate everybody joining the stream. Yeah, it's really weird, man. Like, I really try to give people, like, free economic reports, free data. I do my best, right? Like, we make money doing this, but we try to give people free stuff. But honestly, like, I saw somebody on Top Step TV. Somebody in the comments was like, you know, I used to watch this guy and he's really fallen off lately, you know, this is a new low. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, like, my channel has grown more. And I want to thank you guys, because, like, my channel has grown more in the last year than it ever has. Like, right now we're averaging 500,000 views a month, which for a finance streamer is really good. Really, really good. We're probably, in terms of streaming, in the top 5 finance streaming channels on YouTube, at least, especially if we're excluding networks. And we've just been getting crazy numbers. Yesterday's PPI, we had like 15,000 tune in. We had over 5,000 people watch our CPI report on Wednesday concurrently, like concurrent viewers. We got like 25K total views for that thing. So it's been a really fun couple weeks for growth. And I really just want to thank everybody, man. We're doing, channel's doing great, and it's really fun to grow this thing. It really is. We'll see what it gets to in 2025, but it's been really, really fun to grow this thing. And I know I talk about haters a lot and like all this different stuff, but I truly appreciate you guys, because I couldn't grow it without you guys, and it's grown to be, you know, really, really fun. Really, really fun. Yeah, 106K coming soon. Hey, dude, first time writing. You are so chill and objective. Thanks. Hey, I appreciate it, brother. I try to be objective. I really do. Like, I make fun of myself and all this stuff, but I really do try to be objective. I try to not, like, my job here is to not influence people enough to where they make bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to teach people about the economics and markets, but I don't want to say, hey, I don't like this stock, and have somebody miss out on opportunity. I would rather tell them I don't know, and lead with that first, and then maybe give my subjective opinions afterwards, but in a more balanced way so people can understand. And I think that's different than a lot of others, because a lot of other people are just kind of pushing their agendas, and I'd rather just be real about it, everything. And, you know, hey, what's up, PK? Hey, thank you, brother. Hey, thank you, Alan. Longtime subscriber here. Good to see you. Does he know what? Here, hit the live button. You might be a little delayed in stream. We still need to learn how the new system works. Which one? What I like about you is that you read and answer the chat. Well, yeah, that's what we do here. It's just me, right? Like, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think sometimes the haters, they live in like a dreamland where they want me to be doing bad, and they want me to be falling off. But like, that's what I'm trying to tell people. My channel's numbers, if we look at the growth of my channel, right? Like I could show you guys the growth. We're doing better than we ever have. We really are. Like, look, let me show you guys. But I think some of the reasons, like, I try to engage with the chat because it's just me. Like, I'm not a big network that has like 10 different people showing up on stream. And I'm not knocking them either. Like, I'm really not knocking them. If they're a big network, like Top Step TV is great. You know, and obviously Top Step TV does much better than us, but we do better. Like just me here, like just me is the only person on the stream. We do better than I would say most other big networks in finance, which is a really cool thing to say because it's just me. I'm the only person on the stream, and it feels good, man. It feels good. Yeah, look at my analytics here just to show you guys. Like here is, I'm going to put it back until 2023, and I'll show you guys the difference in my numbers now versus 2023. Hold on. I got to figure out how to do this. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, like look, like this is my growth pattern over the last here, I'm gonna have to mark out some of this. Hold on, let me sorry, I gotta black out. This shows a little bit too much information, so I'm trying to black it out so I don't get too much heat for it. Like, look. So that's my growth pattern here. So we are growing drastically. Like, this was the AI boom, so we had a couple streams. But, like, dude, like, we've grown so much in the past few years, to be honest. And, again, I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you. It's been fun, man. It's been fun. I told myself, I got up early this morning. I started looking at my stats, and I told myself, I was like, yo, I need to start this stream and immediately thank most of my viewers here for like hanging out with me every day. We're kind of the early stream in finance, but hey. Today we got University of Michigan consumer sentiment. We got gold breaking highs here. And honestly, I'm kind of bearish. Here. I did end up purchasing a Combine account. Because I want something to trade right now that's not my actual account, because I'd love to wait for the University of Michigan data to show up first, but I will be trading some of this here. So let's play around with this right now. We'll put 3 charts up. I'll move this to the side. And honestly, I'm short biased, so I think I'm going to take like 10 contracts short, and we're just going to swing for the fences on this challenge account. This is a challenge account. If we lose here, it doesn't freaking matter. It's not the end of the world. This is a challenge account, which means like if I can make 3K in profit without losing 2K, they fund me. So we're trading very small. Again, we're just gonna have fun. We're gonna take 10 contracts, and I'm gonna hold this longer term to see if we can just break down today. I want to see if we retake lows. I'm not saying we're going to, but volume is down. How's the sound? Is the sound good? Is the music good? Can you hear the music? Turn my volume and my mic up or the music up. Here, look, we're just going to add to this. And again, these are micros, so we'll take a crazy risk here early for you guys. There's 50 micros. That's what somebody was saying. You can't take a lot of micros on Top Step. That's wrong. Music is okay. Your mic is okay too. Okay, cool. Music. All right, here. Let me turn the music back on if you guys can't really hear it. Let me know if this is too loud. I just turned the music back up some. There we go. It should be better. All right, so there we go. We're green here. It's a Kevin Gates Friday. You know, I get it out the mud. Like, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm never trying to act like a gangster. I'm a white kid that grew up in the suburbs, you know. But I love Kevin Gates. I really do. I can't, you know. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So, like, everybody in Baton Rouge, most people like Boosie, Kevin Gates, Lil Wayne, you know, Webby sometimes. Webby's good. Webby's Savage Life albums are really good. Everybody hates Webby. I saw Webby was on the list of, like, the top. He was, like, on the list of the top 10 worst rappers of all time. But they must have never listened to Savage Life 1 and 2, you know, because those are honestly great albums if you haven't listened to them. They're southern rap, but like they're good albums. Can I add more? No, I can't add more. There's a chance this is technical bounce could drop it with the report. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the market's gonna do. I'm just shorting in a challenge account right now to limit risk. We'll trade our actual. We made hundreds in our funded account yesterday. It really did. Again, and I'm not trying to brag. I'm honestly shocked. Okay, so this is what happened on Top Step TV yesterday. Top Step TV, I went on Top Step TV. They had me do an over/under, or above or below, which is basically guessing the closing price of the NASDAQ. And I said 19,250 is what I said. And we closed at like 19,251 or something like that yesterday on the NASDAQ. I almost got it exactly right. Exactly right. They said it was one of the closest they've seen. But not just that, like when I came on the stream, I told people my thesis for the NASDAQ, which is that I thought we were close enough to the lows of the last 5 months that it's going to behave kind of like a magnet. And then if we break under, I think I said 250, then we're really going to have some shorts in and we're going to retest those lows, which is almost exactly what happened. Like we ended up breaking down, hitting 250, getting a big red candle, retesting lows, and then closing at 19,250. And so again, I'm not bragging. I'm genuinely surprised that it was that accurate. I'm genuinely surprised it was that accurate. And again, maybe I just got really, really lucky. It's certainly possible. I don't want it to come off as arrogant because really, I'm kind of surprised I was able to get it that close. How is the criminal situation up there? What do you mean in Baton Rouge? It's really down there. It's South Louisiana, which is at the bottom of the U.S. I mean, it's super crime heavy for sure. It's Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's the murder capital sometimes of the U.S. Alright, so we're down some here on our challenge account, but again, it's a $50 account. We'll be alright no matter what. Yeah, I'm not sure if you just don't speak English very well. Oh, bro, you are bragging for just a coincidence. I mean, is it a coincidence, though? I mean, honestly, I'm shocked I got it right, but if I had just gotten one of them right, it would be a coincidence. I got literally everything right. I think, you know, I think sometimes what happens here, and I'll explain what I did, and again, maybe it was a coincidence, it doesn't freaking matter, but when we get this close to lows, I'll put this one big chart up so you guys can really look at it. When we get this one, and again, this is a challenge account, like, if we lose, it's not the end of the world. We're just kind of taking a risk this morning. I probably should lower my size a little bit. 50 micros is kind of big. But this is basically what happened yesterday. Is that as we got closer, to the lows of the last 6 months, which are right, hold on, where are we at? As we got closer to the lows of the last 6 months, which are right here, we broke under 19.3, and then we kept breaking down, and then we hit 250. Once we start to break down, I gave 250 as my level, which is right here. Once we get within this range of this big milestone low that everybody's paying attention to, I think what happens in the psychology that I explained yesterday for the trade, as well as for like the prediction, was that when we get this close, let me move myself over so you can see it. When we get this close, you got to think about like the psychology of everything. People's sentiment changes when we get this close to these lows, right? Like as we get that close to lows, what happens in people's minds? They get less optimistic about the upside. They start getting more pessimistic. They start to bet on the downside more. It's really hard for them to argue a buy, and they end up shorting, selling their short position or selling their long positions, shorting, and we get pushes down to retest this low of the day. And I think that's a movement pattern that you see in finance. very, 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 very often. And what do I mean by that? Like if we get really close to an all-time high, another thing I said yesterday is that gold would almost certainly break $3,000 sometime within the next 24 hours. Why? Because we got so close to this huge milestone level. It's really hard to bet against that. And so if gold gets up, if the all-time highs on gold are 3K and gold gets up to 2999.7, it's almost certain it's going to at least test 3K. Why? Because so many people see that big milestone level and it behaves kind of like a magnet the closer you get to it. And so same thing happened on the NASDAQ. Very, very common movement pattern. Again, if you have a big milestone level that that has been a long time, like either it's a high of the last 6 months like the NASDAQ, or the all-time high like the gold, like what it was for gold. As you get closer to it, it behaves like a magnet. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to break, but like the NASDAQ did yesterday, it's at least going to test it. And like gold did over the last 24 hours, it ripped up over 3K. It behaves very similarly in a lot of different markets, regardless of what it is. If it's an all-time high or a big milestone level or a high or a low of the last 6 months, traders are paying attention to it, and they are in turn going to be targeting that. They're going to lose confidence in the opposite direction the closer you get to it. So I hope that makes sense. Watching the Dow. The Dow's been interesting. And again, I'll update you on what happens in this challenge account. But taking a look at the Dow here, this is the big low that I see on the Dow. So with the context of what I'm saying right now, you can see 40.7K as the same type of thing, right? So what I mean by that is I think if the Dow breaks underneath this here at 40.8, I think that level where we're going to lose confidence in the upward side on the Dow is 40.8. And so I'm watching specifically 40.8 on the Dow. I think if we break under 40.8, a retest of this 40.7 low of the last 6 months is very, very, very probable. Very, very likely. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. There's always variance, but I think most people will agree if we break under this huge level right here, which is now at, again, 40.8, a retest of 40.7 low of the last 6 months. I think this is the low of the last 6 months. Let me make sure. Yeah, a retest of the low of the last 6 months is pretty probable. And so that's a specific milestone level and a movement pattern today where if we start to do that, the same thing on the NASDAQ. If we take a look at the NASDAQ just to bring up some levels here, same thing as on the NASDAQ. If we break under 240, 250, 240 again, I think a retest of these lows is pretty probable. And so again, if we break under 230 or 240, 250 again on the NQ today, depending on what the Michigan data shows up as, I think a retest is probable. If we're starting to look at some other levels here, you can kind of see 19.4, probably a pretty big one, 19.4. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we retest the 550 level on the SPY today before heading higher? We're at 550 on the SPY as the big low level. Same level on the SPY, I think, is 550. I think if we start to break under 550, I think if we break under 551, a retest of these lows is very probable too. Yeah, so we lost the combine. We're gonna have to try to reset and do it again. So let's try it. Again, it's $50. I'm gonna wait though and try to get a more calculated trade. I like the short direction. I think my size was too big. And I think if something is propping up the market, it's the government shutdown being averted most likely. But again, let's take a look at gold. I think the time to get in gold was again, if you think about the strategy that I'm talking about, as we get closer to the big milestone levels, it becomes like a magnet. I think the problem is that we've already broken that big milestone level. Like we've already broken 3K down here. Now 3K has acted as support. And so it's not going to behave in the magnet way anymore. And I think since we've already broken 3K, it's also possible we start to turn the other way now. So I think the time to attack gold was right underneath 3K for a quick little like scalp or short-term swing trade or whatever you want to do. But at this point in time, since we've already broken 3K, we've gotten up to 3017 now. It's just less likely to work, if that makes sense. Sometimes another movement pattern you see is that you go up to this big milestone level, break it, and then dump down afterwards. That's very common as well. I didn't lose a funded account. Yeah, dude, that was a paper account that I was trying to get funded on. You know, it's $50. It's not a funded account. I mean, of course, people are going to act like I'm the worst trader ever. I'm definitely the top 3 worst ever. But again, if we're talking like actual funded accounts, we're up hundreds and hundreds of dollars over the last few weeks. In the last couple weeks, we're probably up 1,600 in our funded accounts or so. And so, yeah. We didn't blow a funded account. It was a challenge demo account that we're playing with because it's early in pre-market. With that said, though, let me check some of the... Hey, what's up, Plus? Makes sense for them to bring us up, leading retail to jump on, assuming this is the squeeze only to set bull trap and bring us down to the draw lines for shorts. Yeah, maybe. What's up, Plus? BBIA. I don't really like that stock. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I'm not a big fan. I think we're going to fly today. Somebody puts in place. What do you think, John? I think it depends on where we are. I'm going to use some levels to determine what we do here. And so I think if we break under 19.4, I like shorts. I think as long as, I think we're in this range right now, I'm kind of neutral on where we are now. I think if we break under 19.4, I'm going to start jumping in shorts. And if we break under 250, I'm going to go heavy with my funded accounts on the short side. But we need to break under 250 first for me to really be like super heavy. That's also now, I think, the previous closing price from yesterday on the NASDAQ, which has even more traders paying attention to it. So I'm watching 19.250. I'm watching 19.4 on the NQ. And I think those levels make tons of sense to watch as well. When does Powell speak again? Now, we should do our semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress with Powell sometime soon. I'm not sure what it's going to be, though. No publicly announced speeches outside of FOMC. Powell speaks on Wednesday next week for the FOMC meeting. And actually, we're probably in the blackout period at this point in time. And again, if you want to check out our Twitter page, here's our Twitter link. It's completely free. It doesn't cost a penny. There it is right there. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, we have an updated report on all the news coming out today, all the big stuff going on in economics, markets, finance, stocks. The period is when, leading up to the FOMC meeting, Powell is not allowed to speak. I think it's for 1 week preceding the FOMC meeting, and it might be for a couple weeks afterwards. All right, so the blackout period begins at 12 a.m. Eastern time the second Saturday before a meeting. It ends at 12:59 p.m. Eastern time the day after a meeting. Okay, so actually it's for the week before the meeting. Powell's not allowed to speak, and then for a day afterwards is what it is. Sorry. Yeah. The next rate cut is going to be most likely, and let me see if they changed this at all. Man, my Fed watch tool is down. Okay, there it is. Actually, it's up. So the next meeting, the next time they cut is going to be most likely in June. On June 18th is probably the next time they cut rates. It's looking like we're going to pause until June right now. Doesn't mean much, but that's what we're looking at right now. Yeah, we got University of Michigan consumer sentiment data going live too today. It's a big thing. Inflation expectations. Let me see what it says here. So yeah, we got the University of Michigan consumer sentiment expected at 63.1 today. 1 year inflation expectations last time they showed up at a shocking 4.3% number last time. Crazy amount higher than the previous time, a full percentage point higher. 5 year showed up at 3.5% last time. So these inflation expectations are going to be very, very important. Very, very important. 10 a.m. Yeah, June is the next rate cut, most likely. As of now, June. Tesla back up to 245s. Microsoft still at 382s. I don't know about the University of Michigan sentiment data. I really don't know. I think go either way. So I think there's a couple versions of the University of Michigan. So yeah, there's a couple types of the University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectation data. There is the prelim sentiment, which is the second Friday of each month, which is today. So this is the prelim data. And then basically they do the final consumer sentiment index, like the revised version. Happens twice a month. Today's is the prelim, which is the more variance heavy ones. Like the prelim is the more rangy one, where the finalized one is a little bit more accurate. I would say the prelim usually gets the biggest response and reaction in markets, which is today. So again, market's churning up here. This is kind of like a neutral zone for me. I want to see a break under 19.4s if I'm going to start shorting. John, if I'm correct, you said that if this correction is not hard enough, we might see another one more aggressive later this year. Why do you believe that? I don't know if I've said that necessarily. I don't know if I've said that. I think it's hard to tell if we correct. I think it's typically pretty standard for the market to correct 10% or more once a year, is what the movement pattern is in markets usually. Now, at the same time, like, just because we rebound, if we do rebound, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to correct again. We might continue running in the big bull market. Okay, there's an argument for that as well, right? Like a rebound now. I don't like doing it at all when we're this close to the lows of the last 6 months. And so in that regard, I don't necessarily like buying here. I want to see some confirmation in the upside first before I start buying. But I also think, I think we're too close to the lows. And so sometimes those can behave like magnets. And if we get a big bad catalysts come out and we start to retest those lows, it can start to break down even more. And so that's the reason I'm not really interested in buying here yet. But if we start to rebound and consolidate and hold gains and move away like far past the recent lows of the last 6 months, which is on the NASDAQ is about 19.120 or so, 19.120. If we can move past that and go up, I think it is possible we rebound. I think, the big day that I think a lot of people are going to be watching is the FOMC meeting next Wednesday. The FOMC meeting next Wednesday. We also have the GTC conference. We got the GTC conference, which is going to be from March 27th or March 17th. So this is going to be from Monday next week all the way to Friday next week. So all next week we got the Nvidia conference. So not only do we have the FOMC meeting next week, we got the Nvidia conference, we got retail sales and more. And so I think people have to understand the significance of Nvidia's conference next week. The FOMC meeting is the biggest one for sure, but Nvidia's conference is going to tell the story of the future of AI in Nvidia, right? Nvidia is heavily weighted and market moves heavily with Nvidia. And so if we get some really good optimistic looks at AI next week, market could run up big, rebound back from this correction. If it's underwhelming and the market and retail traders and investors and big firms and everybody, if they see something that makes them underwhelmed from the Nvidia GTC conference next week, it could push this correction down even more. And again, when you take that into context with the FOMC meeting, next week's big. Now, you got to understand, like, again, just to be completely honest, my job is to hype up things because I cover all this stuff. And so, of course, I want you guys to tune in and I want you guys to be aware of it because that means you watch my channel more. But at the same time, I'm not lying. These are big things for markets. A lot of the markets are going to be tuning into this, and we're going to stream it live. So if you haven't already subscribed, if you want a one-stop shop where we're going to cover all that stuff, shameless plug, hit that sub button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. So of course I'm hyping this up a little bit, but it really is important. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? What's up, Goose? The 10 and 2 years almost at a 40 basis point spread. Isn't a 50 basis point spread indicative of a recession being imminent? Sometimes. But at the same time, though, just to be objective, there's a lot of... We've seen so many recession signals over the past 5 years when we haven't hit a recession. So they're not 100%. Like, it's very possible we get those things, yet we don't correct. So, hey, with the $20 donation, thank you, Lee Young. He said, John, do you think yesterday's PPI rate was possibly due to businesses already pre-purchasing materials early or due to the impending tariffs or less probable number manipulation? In my opinion, the rate looks artificially low. Thanks. I think the first theory there is the most plausible one, which is that businesses understand the tariffs are looming and they are buying now before the tariffs really start to affect their businesses in a big, more profound way. I think that makes a lot of sense. That's very plausible. But you never know. It could be both. PPI is going to be influenced by a lot of different things. It's really variance heavy. And so, but I think your first theory makes sense, which is that they just know the tariffs are coming, so they're getting in now, buying bulk, Yes, I am John London that appears on Top Step TV. Yes, that's me, Bordio. Appreciate it. Again, Top Step TV making me want to trade in the evening or in the afternoon because my trades were great on Top Step TV. I'm not bragging. I'm honestly excited. If I'm excited, I'm going to talk about it. I think sometimes if you kind of get, resentful or whatever, it might sound like nails on a chalkboard, me being excited about something, but I'm genuinely just excited. Yeah, what's funny, bro, is that my whole life people have said John London. They never really called me John. Even my friend groups. Like my friend groups in Louisiana, my friend groups here, jiu-jitsu people, like they all call me John London. It's weird. It's like they pronounce my full name John London. They don't just say, hey, John. They say, hey, John London. And what's weird is that Top Step TV, like Dolby on Top Step TV will do the same thing. He'll be like, hey, John London. And then the other, all the different hosts will call me John London on stream, which is funny because that's what my friends in Louisiana used to do. Yeah, honestly, I really like the movement patterns in Power Hour. I really do. I think one of the ways you trade Power Hour is you create a thesis. Yesterday, again, my thesis was that we were so close to the 6-month low in the NASDAQ that as we broke under big milestone levels, we'd continue down. Once we broke under 19,250, we would get even more pressure to the downside to retest lows. That was my thesis the whole time. And that's exactly what we did. And so it was a really easy thesis to execution. And it might be something that I try more often now for sure. It's hard for me to find time in the afternoon, but it's something I could certainly do. I don't know if I'm going to stream it, but I might start trading a little bit more often in the evening. They stocked up before the tariff hit. Yeah, I think that's possible for sure. How can healthcare, Dow Jones Index, and staples go down at the same time? Well, because they're still independent markets. And again, we're just trading combine accounts because I don't trust my trading super heavily right now. Usually I'm going to wait until the opening bell to trade futures and my funded accounts. So I'm just going to wait a little bit, see if we can maybe get closer to funding in one of these. We got 3 funded accounts right now. Bro, I ran with the same thesis last 3 days. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reasonable one for sure. And also, thank you, Lee, for the donation, the $20 donation. Very generous of you, bro. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. Very generous. Thanks so much. The amount of people I see on like the amount of people I see on websites like x.com that buy fake followers and fake views is ridiculous, you know. Like, bro, like, why even do that? I've worked with people before that just paid for like views, and it's not really gonna hurt you, but that's not gonna help you either. It's just kind of a waste of time. But I think people really want to look popular versus actually be popular, you know. There's a very famous quote: "Don't try to look rich, be rich." You know, don't try to look popular, be popular. You know, maybe to popularity, it's the same thing, but yeah. Looking at our poll numbers, 60% think the NASDAQ breaks 19,120 in the next week. I think we might. I don't know, though. I think we bounce back enough to where I think I'm kind of neutral in this range we are now. Again, I think if we break under 19.4s, it makes sense that we're going to keep coming down. Hey, thank you, Lee. Appreciate it, brother. Thanks so much. Do you think today will be a green day for market? I really don't know. And I think there's so much variance on upside, downside that nobody really knows. I do know one thing. The people that do make a bet, if they're right, they're going to act like geniuses. If they're wrong, you know, they're just not going to say anything. Coming from the top 3 most wrong trader of all time ever in the world. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose, I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Do not copy me. Remember, guys, today we got University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations at 10 a.m. It's big. Hey, what's up? 3rd degree BJJ black belt from Huntington Beach. Hey, what's up, dude? You know, no stripe blue belt coming from Houston. Right here. You know. My jiu-jitsu's been going pretty well, though. I've felt better in jiu-jitsu lately. For a little while after I got my blue belt, I felt kind of imposter syndrome-y. But, I was able to bow and arrow this purple belt that I've never tapped before the other day. And he's good, too. Like, this dude, I've never seen him tap to anybody. And I finally caught him. Bow and arrow choke. I've kind of learned the movement pattern of like stepping over, like getting the cross collar grip from behind and then doing the quick step and roll into the bow and arrow. That's like my favorite move lately. But it's still hard to get on super skilled people, but it's fun. I'm preparing to sell my positions if we bounce back to the 200 SMA. Hey, good luck, brother. Top 5 fastest corrections in history, apparently. Is it really? Started in 95. Just keep training. Hey, yeah, for sure. John's got a hat on today. It's going to be a green day. Is there a correlation there? Honestly, the market's kind of flat right now. We're not really moving much. NASDAQ's pretty sideways and choppy here. So again, I got to just wait until we break under some levels. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning. We got time. Hey, what's up, Fred? Yumi, it is. I believe we will go up or down at the open. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, like I see it a lot on X, people with fake views, where like I'll get somebody that follows me, and then I look at their channel and they'll have like 10,000 followers on X. And then they'll have like 1,000 people who they're following, right? And so I'm like, oh, this person's popular. And then I go look at their page, and like, if they just repost other people's stuff, you'll see other people's views. So if other people have like 5,000 views on a post, you'll see those views, right? But that's not a true tell of how if that person's popular or not. And so people that actually understand it can really recognize if somebody's got like a bunch of nonsense views. And so you keep scrolling down until you see one of their own posts. Like it has to be one of their posts, not them resharing somebody else's, but one of their own posts. And they'll have like 10,000 followers and their posts will get like 30 like views. And so you know they basically just paid for a bunch of fake views for whatever reason. Or a bunch of fake followers, I guess. Can I get a free t-shirt? Yeah, we're going to stream the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment and Inflation Expectations live right here on stream. We're going to trade live as well when we do it too. Yeah, Brown. I mean, look. I was excited about my stripes, and I think it's about motivating people to continue. Although I had a very weird dynamic where like I started learning jiu-jitsu under one teacher. He left the gym completely after like a year, you know, and I would say by the time he left my gym, I was already kind of blue belt levelish. Like when I roll against other white belts, like I'm not really losing to any white belts. When I roll against other blue belts, I'm winning like 60% of the time, depending on who it is and how big they are or how long they've been training or whatever. But because he left, we got a new coach that stepped in, and he had never met me before, and so it took me a lot longer to get my blue belt. And my logic was just like, hey, I'm just gonna destroy whoever I train against until they have to give me the blue belt. But top 3 worst blue belt of all time here, and yeah. The monopoly money can help the old system. It's a never-ending story. Yeah. I have half a follower. Hey, well, that's good, man. It's better than nothing. No followers, right? If people knock the influencer culture of the online space, most of the time, it depends on who it is. Like, I understand knocking, like, Logan Paul or somebody like that. But I think you got to understand, 30 years ago, you would have to hire, like, a videographer, and you'd have to get sponsors and, like, skateboarding, and you'd have to do all this different things to monetize your passions. Right, if you want to monetize your passions, which is the real road to happiness in life, monetize what you're interested in. If you wanted to do that 30 years ago, you need to hire a videographer and a sponsor. You'd have to have sponsors that pay you and create videos and editors and all this different stuff. And now, if you're passionate about something, you can monetize it incredibly easily online and earn a living doing something you truly enjoy through social media. And I think that's the context people need to look at it under. That's the lens people need to look at it under. Now, if you're bugging people on the street and acting toxic, shame on you, right? But if you're just monetizing something that you're interested in, whatever that is, like I'm monetizing trading and investing and finance and economics, Other people might monetize skateboarding. They might monetize all this different stuff. And so it just depends. John, by the way, thanks for streaming and interacting. I'm learning about economy. And it's even being entertaining and no ads. So thank you, man. I mean, we got ads. Don't get me wrong. But we do about 4 or 5 ads a day here. And listen, guys, listen. I would never, ever do this to make money, you know? When I wake up in the morning, I'm like, look, I need to do this at the kindness of my heart. My job is to help people. I'm going to be the most righteous YouTuber ever in the world. You know, I would never think about money. I would never think about earning money. You know, I would never, ever get paid, you know, to do this. I'm doing this genuinely out the kindness of my heart because, listen, guys, I just love teaching, okay? But with that said, if you want to check out Top Step, they give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on a 50K demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, check out Top Step. Top Step is one of the best ways to learn day trading. It's an affiliate link, and so if you click on this link, I get paid. And so if you want to help support the channel, check them out. They give you a 50K demo. It comes with real-time data. If you were going to use that 50K demo with real-time data outside of Top Step, it might cost the same amount. It might be in the same ballpark, so the value's there. If you can make 3K in profit on a 50K demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they'll fund you 50K with a 90% split, and they pay out millions, fund thousands every year. It's a great way to learn how to day trade. It's only $49. It's not the end of the world. I'm one of the top 3 most biased traders of all time ever in the world. But it's genuinely useful for traders because most day traders lose money. I don't care where you go, what course you take, who you follow. Most day traders are going to lose. And frankly, it's a lot cheaper to use Top Step, learn how to trade, learn how to follow rules. If you fail, you're out $49. It's not the end of the world versus depositing tens of thousands of dollars and losing that. The better option is obviously Top Step. If you want to check it out, I'll put this link up. Great way to help support the channel. They are an affiliate of mine. I am biased in their favor. If you want to check it out, link is in the chat right here. Great way to help support the channel. Obviously, I was sarcastic. I didn't mean anything I said. I'm absolutely here to make money. Everybody on YouTube, for the most part, is. Anybody that tells you they're here not to make money and then they're just they just like teaching is full of crap. You know, I mean, I like being here and hanging out with you guys. It gives me somebody to talk to. Y'all are like my therapist over here. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing this to make money. Let's be real here. Anyways, market's moving up, testing that 19,492 level. Yeah. You need a better therapist. I really do. You guys aren't cutting it. Honestly, though, I've been to therapists. I don't really know what else there is to really tell them. You know? Like, life's hard, man. You know? If I want to talk to somebody, I'll just talk to my wife about it. You know? But I'm not saying therapists aren't needed. I mean, some people need to talk and need that venting frustration person. But, you know. Genuinely, my life's pretty good. I'm generally pretty happy. I don't think I've ever actually been like deeply depressed ever in my life. I'm generally a pretty optimistic, happy person. Like I've had good times and bad times in life, but I don't know if I've ever really been like deeply depressed. I'm not trying to brag about this either. I hope people don't get mad at me for saying this. Because sometimes if people are unhappy, they kind of want other people to be unhappy too. But I'm generally a pretty happy dude. Pretty optimistic. I'm pretty confident that no matter where I get in life, I can make my situation better. And so, you know. What about when you almost cried? I don't even know what crying is, bro. What is a cry? I don't even know what that is. Sounds like BJJ is really paid off, maybe. What are you thinking downside today? I don't know. I think it depends on levels. Right now in the market, I've said this once, I'll say it again. I'm kind of in a neutral, like, my sentiment is neutral right here. I think if we start to break over, like, let me look at this. I think if we start to break over 20K, then I think we're looking a little bit more bullish. 20K is my level. I think if we break under 20K, we're looking pretty bullish. I think if we break under 19,250, I'm going to pivot to the bear side. Right now, we're neutral. I'm just going to stop myself from trading. I think over 20K is where I get really bullish. Under 19.4s, really under 19.4s, and then especially 19,250, that's where I get bearish. Where we're at now, I'm pretty neutral. Yeah, I mean, everybody's cried. I mean, I cry. Like I said, I cry about once a year. The conversations we have here, guys, crying conversations. I cry probably like once a year, you know, maybe. Life can get hard, you know, but it's been a while. I'm not really a big crier. I don't cry for movies. I didn't cry when my son was born. Generally, I think my anxiety is a little bit too high. Like, I have anxiety over certain things. Specifically, like, I have a little OCD with health stuff. And so when my son was born, I was nervous. I didn't have time to cry. I was nervous. He was, you know, pretty healthy baby, to be honest. But I was nervous nonetheless. Yeah. Now my daughter, on the other hand, you know, you break a stick on the ground, she's crying about it. You know, I love her. I'd rather her cry too much than not enough. I'd rather her have empathy. And what's good about my daughter is, you know, she has empathy. You know, I'd rather her cry too much than too little. So. I'm trying to think the last time I cried, man. I can't remember it. Yeah, I have 2 kids. Everybody cries, bro. Crying can honestly be therapeutic. You know, I'm not judging. Tesla up to 246s. Oh, my grandmother passed away about a year ago. That was probably the last time. You know, rest in peace. All right, guys. Hey, NASDAQ up to 472s right now. Let's see if it holds. So we rejected that 492 level. Look at that resistance. So we rejected there. We're coming back down. I'm looking at 460, 450 as a support level. The 200 exponential right around 450 makes a lot of sense too. Yeah. Most people don't admit they cry. I know, but what you realize very quickly is that people respect honesty. You know? It's something I tell my son. Like, if you care too much about what other people think less of you, ironically enough. You know? And so, if you just kind of be honest with people, you don't really care too much, they'll respect you more for it. You also got to be willing to, like, make fun of yourself and laugh at yourself, which I think is good. It's stuff I teach my son and my daughter, really. You know, if you can do that, nobody can touch you. Bitcoin Moon, is Bitcoin bouncing up a little bit here? Let's see. Bitcoin, it is. I mean, it's bouncing back up, but it hit 80,000 yesterday. And so while Bitcoin's bouncing back up, it's still pretty freaking low over the last couple weeks, months. Here's an hourly chart. We're still right around the low of the 75,000 level, which is the low of, when was the last time we were here? Yeah, this is the low of the last few years, really. Or no, I'm sorry. This is the low of the last. Was it only in December? In November that Bitcoin made this big run to 100K? It seems like it was much longer than that ago. But I guess not. So this is the low of the last 4 months for Bitcoin, which is right around 80,000 even. And in some ways, what's really interesting about crypto is that in some ways, technicals on crypto are easier to see. They're easier to watch. They're easier to predict technicals on crypto. Like milestone levels are a little bit more ingrained in the movement of crypto, and specifically Bitcoin is what I mean. Maybe not other crypto. I'm not really sure about other crypto outside of ETH. But technical movement patterns are sometimes a little bit more valid in Bitcoin and crypto. Do you think the bear market will continue next week? I think it depends on how the market responds to the FOMC meeting. All right, so we still tapped that 490 level. Look at this. So we got this resistance level here. We've tapped it 3 times. Humble's nice. Sarah McLaughlin. My mom used to cry every time. We're a big dog family. Like we were always like, my mom's side loves dogs. And I love dogs too. My dad helped me learn how to train dogs, and I love dogs too. But my mom would cry every time the "In the Arms of the Angels" would show up on TV. She'd cry. They'd get her every time she'd donate to. I just conduct therapy on myself. Why would I want someone else's perspective to sort my situation? Yeah, I mean, we have the shutdown government today. I think the government shutdown's looking less and less likely. I think they're coming to more of an agreement in terms of the government shutdown. At least that's the news that I saw last here. All right, so let's talk about the government shutdown real quick, because this is big market news, to be honest, right now. This is big market news. All right, so as of today, threat of a U.S. government shutdown has been averted following a recent legislative development. On March 13th, Chuck announced his support for the bill designed to finance federal agencies through September of this year. This decision came after intense deliberations among Senate Democrats who faced a challenging choice between opposing the bill's provisions and preventing a gov shutdown. The funding measure in question proposes a $6 billion increase in military spending and a $13 billion reduction in non-defense expenditures. Additionally, it seeks to reverse certain elements of the Inflation Reduction Act and retract $20 billion allocated to the IRS. These provisions have been a point of contention, particularly progressives and activists who argue that the bill concedes excessive discretionary power over spending decisions to the president. Despite these reservations, the Senate minority leader emphasized that the consequence of a gov shutdown would be more detrimental, potentially enabling the admin to unilaterally determine which agencies and programs are deemed essential, leading to indefinite closure and workforce reductions. So basically, it's looking like they have successfully enacted a funding bill. In summary, through bipartisan cooperation, Congress has successfully enacted a funding bill that maintains government operations and sidesteps a potential shutdown despite internal disagreements. So it's looking like the government shutdown is not going to happen. Now, anything could happen, but I think they got it done. All right, again, we're maintaining sideways choppy action here. Live from Humble, Texas. Humble's nice. Alright, so look at this pop up here. So look at 19.5. So we finally broke over that resistance level. Let's look at 19.5s now. 19.5 might reject it here. Yeah, so it's been averted. Yeah, so no more government shutdown. 60% say NASDAQ does break under those lows. All right, so look at the market pop. We're at 19.5s right now, 19.5s. Yeah, we got University of Michigan consumer sentiment data here, guys. Y'all be ready. All right, so we're over. We just tapped 19.5s. Bitcoin popping up, SPY up there. Again, gold breaking all-time highs today, man. Do you think gold is a buy or sell right now? Let me know in chat. Do you think gold is a buy or sell? Remember, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about everything. Nvidia flying. Yeah, I mean, XRP is interesting, but I kind of avoid it. I think it's done a lot for crypto, though. But for Bitcoin, I'm very simple. I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the only one that I'm really genuinely interested in. I trust it more than all the other ones. I'm not telling you to buy anything, though. So sell for tomorrow, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Yeah, I think it's overpriced, but I think it depends on what happens in the economy right now. I think if inflation expectations come in hot today, gold's going up. And so we'll see. When you receive a dividend payment, does it get added to your position or to your purchase power? I'm pretty sure it gets added to your purchase power, right? It just gets added to your equity. They deposit it. It's kind of like a deposit, I'm pretty sure. Like it doesn't compound into it, I'm pretty sure. Every time I've gotten a dividend payment, it's just been added to the account. It hasn't compounded into it. Today, the news, we got University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectation data at 10 a.m. It's honestly pretty big. It's the prelim results, so it's the most variance one, and it's pretty big. Yeah, unless you change it to drip, it'll get added to cash. It's at 10 a.m. See, we're seeing a lot of upward action, though. We got like the NASDAQ bouncing back. We got NVIDIA moving up. So look at NVIDIA here. NVIDIA is one of the reasons the market's rebounding back up. It's up to almost 120 again. Dragging the NASDAQ higher. Gold train is done. So Kevin, all you have to do if you want to stay live is put it in 2x speed, brother. So Kevin, if you put it in 2x speed, if you lag behind, it'll catch back up most likely. And so if you put it, here's a cheat code. If you want to watch economic data releases on my channel here, and you get delayed on stream and lag behind, put it in 2x speed. You'll stay. It won't sound quickly because it'll be in real time. And so put it in 2x speed. You'll stay up there. No, gold hit 3K. So, and again, this is a movement pattern I was talking about a lot lately, which is that, again, if you watched me on Top Step TV yesterday, gold hadn't quite broken over 3K. And what I said was that gold is breaking 3K in the next 24 hours. Dolby agreed. Everybody basically agreed that it was going to do it. Because the movement pattern is so predictable in that way, where if we get really, 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 really close to a huge milestone level, like the all-time highs for gold, which is also a $3,000 whole dollar level, and we get very close to that level, think about how many buys are stepping in right there in optimism. Like, hey, we're at 2999.7. Everybody's like, hey, we're about to break 3K. Let's jump on that bandwagon. Let's jump on gold. And that's precisely what happened. People jumped on the bandwagon. You can see gold end up popping up from it. Like, it got up to this 3K level. Everybody got it really optimistic. It ripped up to 3017. Once it hits this level, though, it's less reliable. And sometimes we break these big milestone levels and we just dump back down. So I don't really trust it here. And in fact, I might actually look at it more in a short bias way for short-term day trading today. But yeah. I got wrecked yesterday believing in PPI. Yeah, with economic releases, nothing is super predictable in terms of the reaction as well as the lead up to it. PPI especially. CPI is a little bit more predictable where like you can bet on some movement patterns there, but PPI is really super high variance. Yeah, this is gold futures. I'm going to get a trumpet out. I'm going to buy a trumpet, learn how to play it, and then just kind of bust it out in news events. Bitcoin behaving similarly right now. Yeah, Bitcoin is a very similar way. That's why, like, if you remember when Bitcoin got up to 90K, leading up to it, I made a couple shorts where I talked about how I thought Bitcoin was going to break 100K. For the same exact reason, and the reason, and again, I'm not bragging, guys. Like, I'm trying to tell you guys, maybe I'm bragging a little bit, but I'm trying to tell you guys one of the most common movement patterns in finance is you get close to all-time highs, you get close to big milestone lows like 19,120 in the NASDAQ, you get close to all-time highs like 3,000 in gold, like 100K in Bitcoin a couple months ago. The likelihood, again, people like to buy high of the days breakouts and short low of the day shorts and all this different stuff. They don't work. But what does work is attacking the range of retesting those levels. And so buying the high of gold at 3,000 is risky, but buying gold at 299.6 and letting it right up to test that high is much more valid trade idea. Same thing with NASDAQ. Shorting 19,120 is risky. It might liquidity grab you and rip back up. But as we get in a really close range to that level, shorting that range and attacking the retest of that level, much more viable strategy in my opinion, much more valid strategy that works much more of the time. Same thing with Bitcoin. We made a lot of money in Bitcoin when it got up to 90K because people are so optimistic that it's going to test 100. And so I hope all that makes sense. It really is one of the more common movement patterns in finance. I can't guarantee anything though. I could always be wrong and anything can freaking happen. Market's variance heavy. Market could go up, down, sideways. Nobody freaking knows. With that said though, NASDAQ is pushing higher. It's definitely not financial advice. Again, read the top of the screen. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's not financial advice. I'm not liable. If you lose, I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say here. Don't copy me. Nvidia popping up to almost 120s here. Not an investment professional. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. John, I tried to go back and play the trumpet. See, I played the trombone as a kid. I played the drums, trombone, and guitar. I play a couple instruments. Drums, trombone, guitar. So I'm a brass player too, I guess is the point. Do you think Bitcoin will still break over 100K soon? Soon is the big thing, Joshua. Joshua says, does Bitcoin break over 100K anytime soon? I have no idea. What I said when I made the original prediction back in like November, December is that I thought Bitcoin would break over 100K, eventually pull back to 90K, and then consolidate for a period. And that's what it did, but it recently broke down under, so I was wrong to a certain extent, because it ended up breaking down to 80K now, which I didn't really expect that. I thought it would hold at 90 and sit there for a while and then make a move up to retest it eventually and keep going. But now that it's in the 80s, I really have no idea what Bitcoin's going to do. You can repeat as many times as you want. I don't believe it, John. Believe what? Believe that I have no idea what I'm talking about is probably what you're saying. I mean, I know what I'm talking about, but nothing's financial advice here. I have no idea what's going to happen. Not an investment professional, you know. How bad do you think it'll be going from brass to sax? I don't know. I've always wanted to play a saxophone just because it looks cool, you know. Get the ladies playing the saxophone, man. That thing just, you know. Imagine being on a date and just serenading them with the sax, you know. Can't stop it, I think. Just can't stop it. I mean, I know what I'm talking about, Arch, but the variance in markets is so high. I see you're a Saints fan. Go Saints. Go Tigers. Go Saints. But the variance in markets is so high. That's why I try to tell people is that this is why you got all these gurus selling courses, selling services, making all these hot picks. You know what I mean? These hot picks. Dude, the variance is so high. You know, the market can do anything. That's why when people ask me what the market is going to do on any particular day, I always tell them the same thing. I have no freaking idea what the market does today. Nobody does. You could reasonably argue either direction, but nobody knows. And it's important to recognize that variance in markets because a lot of people selling you courses, services, a lot of people acting like gurus, they don't recognize variance. And it's one of the reasons I shame people who criticize other people's trades so much. Like, you know how many times I take a trade here, Top Step TV, anywhere, and as soon as I enter the trade, that's a dumb trade, bro. That's a horrible trade. You know, this trade is, this dude's dumb. He's a fool. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It happened yesterday. And then very quickly it starts to go in my favor. And exactly what I say happens. And then it's just silence. Crickets. Nobody freaking knows. And so I can make a thesis, and it might do what I said it's going to do, but it's certainly not going to do it every single time. It might do it 2 out of 3 times. It might do it 65% of the time, 55% of the time. There's variance everywhere. And so that's why I always tell people, like, shaming people for the trades they make, it's a rookie thing. Like, it's something that rookies do mostly. But yeah, there's variance everywhere. That psychic lady knows. Oh, Ma Psychic Shop from yesterday. Yeah. Yeah, go Tigers. Yes, sir. If you had a license to give financial advice, I would trust your opinion much less. Yeah. I knew this was the channel for me when you brought back the throwback. Oh, that's tight? Yeah, dude, that was the slang I used back in the day. I can't reasonably use it now. I just can't. I feel too old. Like, it used to be, that's a tight truck over there, bro. That's a tight A truck, you know. No, those shorts are tight, bro. Maybe not that. Maybe not that. But let me think of a better one. That song is tight, yo. That was the slang I used. Nowadays, young people, they got all this other slang. My daughter was teaching me about it. She's 15. She's cool. You know, she's hip. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just not cool anymore. That's why I've said, like, I've got people that are literally my age. They're like mid 30s. Some of them are late 30s. One of them's trying to be a rapper. And it's like, dude, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You're not cool anymore, bro. Like like you rapping right now, you're rapping like you're not cool anymore. You gotta at a certain point, you gotta stop trying to be cool. And coming from the top 3 coolest people ever on YouTube right now, you're not cool anymore, bro. You gotta accept it. If you try to hold on to it, it's really cringe. If you try to hold on to that, and so. Yeah, he's a white guy that grew up in the suburbs too. It's just kind of like, all right, bro. Like you're not hard, man. Like you grew up in the suburban neighborhood, you know. You didn't grow up in the streets. What are you talking about? You know. The 2-year and 10-year become 50 basis points. Isn't that indicative of a national recession? It could be a signal that a recession is incoming. The problem is that we're not in a recession right now. No matter how many people say it, we're just not. Now, we could be leading to one. But again, a recession is defined as 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. All right? Last quarter, 2.3%. You know, even if we're negative this quarter, we're still not in one. Not yet, at least. And so people saying we're in a recession now, I don't know if they understand what a recession means, but we're not in one yet. Maybe we're heading that way. I'm not arguing against that. It's possible. Depends on what GDP shows up as. Not next week, but the week after. But again, last quarter was 2.3% GDP. It's just not negative. I gotta delete that comment. Orange County? You mean the movie with a movie about the surfer guy? Yeah, like, listen, I think what it is, if you want me to be honest about what it is, I think that I know a lot of people that like grew up and they used drugs when they were young, right? When they were teenagers, when they were in their 20s, they just used a lot. A lot of people I grew up with did. And I think that keeps you from growing up. It keeps you from maturing, you know, to where like they just don't understand why they look ridiculous. You know what I mean? And so the only words I know that my daughters teach me are bussin'. There's mid. A lot of it is actually stealing our slang. But there's mid, there's bussin', there's low key, there's a lot of slang that I just don't know nowadays. There's skibbity, there's all this different stuff that I don't know what it means, to be honest. Cap, Riz. Riz just comes from charisma. Charisma is Riz. The charisma, Riz. But I can never use that one, but yeah. Let him cook. Oh, let him cook is definitely. I hear my little son playing video games with his friends saying that all the time. He'll say a variation of, I really cooked on that last play, or I'm cooked right now, which basically means like I'm losing right now. Like I'm losing this game. I'm cooked. Like it's over, basically. Look at this big pullback in markets here, guys. So we're at 492s. We're breaking under 500, but 500 might be a little support and resistance level. Let's see if it holds. There's fives right there. So right around 5. 200 exponentials right around 460, so we're watching that. But Nvidia's pulling back, Tesla's pulling back, SPY's pulling back, Google's pulling back, Broadcom's pulling back here. What does that mean, Mikey? I don't know if I've ever heard him say that. Well, low key was originally used by my generation. Like, do it on the down low, on low key. Like, keep this low key, keep this quiet, you know? Now, they say, I'm low key hungry, you know? When really it's usually not low key because they're being very vocal about it. So it kind of contradicts itself, but regardless, it's the slang they use. Yeah, there's a University of Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 a.m. today that we're going to cover. We're waiting for it to drop. Nobody wants to be old. Yeah, I get it. But I think it's one of those things that the more you hang on to it, the more you avoid it, the worse it gets. You know, the more cringy you look, the more you hold on to it. You know, like if you try to hold on to youth too much, you just look cringy and you get made fun of even more, you know. And so you just got to be smart enough to recognize that and just embrace it and make fun of yourself and not be too serious on yourself. And I think that's the move. But here's a hard question for you. What's the definition of charisma? I mean, I don't know what the definition is. Again, I'm not going to type anything. Charisma is probably something like the ability to attract other people and make people like you, or something like that is what I'm assuming charisma means. Let's see. Let's check it out. Let's see how close I was. Compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. Yeah. Hit it right on the head there. Everybody should know the definition of charisma, though. Anyways, market's bouncing back. Let's see if it taps this 513 level we got on our chart. We're hitting that now. Basically, like, I'll use it in a sentence. John at Beginner Trading has the most charisma in the world, dash, especially top 3. Definitely top 3. Yeah, that's better. Age gracefully, stay in shape. We are parents. We're not cool anymore. That's definitely true for me. Look, so we tapped it. Look at my level here, guys. Wow, look at my level. 513s? Did I not say 513s? We literally tapped exactly off of it. Now the market's flushing down. '30s make you calmer. Oh, it definitely does. '30s make you calmer and just more confident, I would say. '30s make you more confident, less worried about what people think. You're able to have a little bit more fun in your 30s because you care less about what other people think. Most people do, at least. Some people end up caring more. Charisma is technically defined, again, as, quote, compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. All right, so look at the support level. Look at that, man. Honestly, my levels over the last couple of months, the levels I've been using have been working really well. The problem, though, is that even if I know what level we might stop at, it doesn't mean we're going to hold. So, like, we might make a detour at my level like this. It doesn't mean it's going to hold above it. You know, we might continue down. And so, even if you know where markets are going to stop for at least a second, it doesn't necessarily mean you can predict direction, which is what it is. So, I could usually have pretty good levels, but direction prediction is a harder thing. That's why you got to just kind of, I need to just trade with the trend more most of the time. Stick with the trend. A lot of cult leaders are charismatic. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. The number one rule, never move to a compound. Right? Like, that's got to be the number one rule. Like, you can be religious as you want, don't move to a compound. You know, if anybody ever wants to try to make you move to a compound, that's bad. Also, the other one is that if anybody ever tries to ostracize you away from your parents, that's bad. those are the biggest signs for cults, right? Like if they try to separate you from your parents, usually not good. Usually not good. This is in general. Sometimes your parents are toxic and all that stuff, but yeah. We watch a lot of true crime documentaries, and that's usually like the go-to, is they separate them from their parents. And your parents are some of the people that have your best interest the most at heart. And so somebody separating you from them is usually a pretty big red flag. But again, it all depends on, there's always outliers. Swag's not cool anymore. Swag was cool in 2008. Like my daughter saw this old picture of me when she was like a baby and I was holding her and she was a baby. And I had the pair, like this is, I had to explain to her what it was. I had a huge pair, like these shorts literally went way past my knees. They were like the baggiest pair of shorts I've ever seen. And they were plaid shorts. So they had a plaid design on, and the design was like light green, pink. Like there were white plaid shorts that were super baggy that had like a plaid pattern of like green, red, like pink, like all this crazy stuff. I look like Andy from The Office. And she was like, "Daddy, what were you wearing?" And I had to kind of explain to her that there was a time in fashion where everybody, the best way I can describe it is like preppy golf clothes is what you wore. You wore a polo shirt, plaid shorts, looking really tight, y'all know. If you know, you know. All right, guys, market's bouncing up here. So we did bounce at 492. We bounced right at this level, too. Interesting. Now we're retesting 413s. The market's getting a big surge of momentum on the upside. Let's see if there's any news. Pretty sure we didn't have any economic reports today. Yeah, we got, again, University of Michigan inflation expectations coming out at 10. Consumer sentiment at 10 as well. Doc Martens were kind of like the 90s for me. Like Doc Martens and a Fossil watch, that was like 98, 99, 2000, 2001. All right, guys, hey, we're bouncing back. We're at 19.5s. I want to buy this too. All right, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm buying it. We've dropped enough. We'll take 6 contracts here. Very small. We'll play with this. See if we build up a little bit of cushion on the day. I can't help it. I'm going to learn my lesson, though, and I'm going to trade really small size. Do people still wear Doc Martens? I really don't know. I'm not cool anymore. I usually wear like Under Armour t-shirts. I wear, what's the golf brand that I wear now? It's got Reggie Bush. Travis Matthew? I wear some Travis Matthew stuff. I wear a lot of Hey Dude shoes. Like, I'm just not cool anymore. I'm old. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna add to this now. I wear Crocs too, but not as often. The gold rally is mostly due to economic fears. So gold is rallying in markets where tariff news is looming, government shutdown news is looming. All of that's making gold a more attractive asset for a lot of buyers, and so they're stepping in and buying gold, pushing it. We also got really close to all-time highs. It's the same kind of movement pattern that we've been talking about all day, which was we got really close to a big milestone level, in this case the all-time high $3,000 level for gold. And so once we got close enough, it was very probable that we were going to at least break it once, which we did already. And I think with the landscape of everything going on, it makes sense. So I'm trying to sit on this long enough. It's a small little micro trade. I'm going to add one more 15 share lot to it, but you don't love to see it. Let's see if we're going to use this $500 level as a risk. Did you just go long after a bearish candle? Yeah, I like buying pullbacks. You know, look, we bounced right there at 500, and so I'm just using this $500. It's a small micro trade on a combine account, and so you know I'm trying to use this $500 level as a support, which is kind of what we're seeing right now. We'll give it a little bit more room. I'm going to use like 494s as a risk, so I'm going to use probably like this level here as a risk. And if we fail, we fail. It's a $50 combine account. It's not going to be the end of the world. Here we go. Back to flat. Yeah, government shutdown was avoided. Yeah. Yep. There we go. There we go. Let's take a piece off here, lock it in. Take another piece off there, lock that in, and then sit on the rest. Pretty safe here with 5 little baby contracts now. We are cool, but we are cool in our own way. Younger generations will always learn from the older ones. We have so much younger people want life. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. One thing that I think, like, I'm younger than a lot of my daughter's friends' parents. And so, like, we're a different generation than them. I've tried hanging out with some of them, and it's nothing against them. Like, I'm not knocking them. But they, you know, I think people are at different places in their life. And so, we're a lot younger than they are. And they're trying to do, like, cocktail parties and drinking a lot and kind of, like, living this super, like, snooty life. And maybe it's just people are different. And my wife and I are trying to, like, the best way I could explain it is we went to a party with my son a couple years ago at a trampoline park. And so my wife and I are sitting there like, bro, we're about to go jump at this trampoline park. Like, we're not going to go watch the kids jump at a trampoline park. Like, why would we ever do that? Like, we're going to go jump at this trampoline park. And we get there, and all the parents are a little bit older than us, to be honest. And none of them are jumping. And none of them are doing anything. They're all sitting there talking to each other about, like, business and stuff, which I get. I can't judge too much. But eventually my wife and I look at each other, and we're kind of like, dude, we're going to go jump. Like, I'm going to go do a bunch of flips and play around on these trampolines. Like, we're at a freaking trampoline park. I don't want to sit here awkwardly and talk to these people I don't know. Like, I'm going to go jump on the trampolines. And I think they kind of judged us for it. You know, at the end, we're all sweaty, like, rough looking because we've been jumping for an hour. And so, I don't know. I think just different stages in life. But I think, you know, I can't judge either. Maybe when I'm not at, like, maybe when I'm in my 40s, that's what I want to do too. I'm not going to want to jump. I'm just going to want to talk about, you know, croutons and coffee parties and stuff. I don't freaking know. But so we're kind of flat on the trade. We made a little bit. Now we're down on the last little bit, but it's a low risk trade. Bro, my wife always makes the coffee so strong. Every time she makes the coffee, it feels like, it tastes like sludge. It's so strong. It tastes like sludge. It's almost too strong. Yeah, I heard a statistic that said by the time people reach like 45, it's been 15 years since somebody ran at a full sprint. Like since somebody actually sprinted. The average 45-year-old hasn't sprinted full speed in 15 years. And that seems kind of out there. And so when we went for a walk with the dogs the other day, and you better believe I sprinted. I'll let the dogs run. The dogs like it more when you run fast too. But I think that's a crazy statistic. I think it's probably healthier to sprint, run, exercise. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I'm kind of getting old. And yeah. I think jiu-jitsu honestly really helpful as well. Super healthy. A lot of cardio. Yeah, so I'm going to cut this. We're kind of getting down to my level here. But I will let it test this spot. And we're going to get out. Looks like down slightly on the trade. I just want to make sure we're not going to liquidity grab right here. Yeah, we're going to cut it. I haven't sprinted in years, really? See, I skateboarded a lot when I was young, so my knees are generally pretty solid. Nvidia still consolidating here. We are under 19.5s. We break under 19.4s. See, my bear level is down here. This bear level right here. So I still gotta wait until we break down underneath that. We'll see if we hit it at the open. I really don't know if today's bullish or bearish, Newbert. No idea, bro. What deck did I use? I used World Industries most of the time. And it wasn't like I heard some good and bad things about the company of World Industries. I think it was World Industries, right? Is that what it was called? Yes. Yeah, I used World Industries a lot. They were... I never skated vert. It was always mostly street skating. Yeah, see, it was a liquidity grab. I did get faked out here. But it was mostly street skating. And so, like, I remember my cousin had an element board, and it was way too big, too heavy of a board. I always like World Industries, much lighter boards. You could do more stuff with them. I get this note titled, let me rename this. It's got Pawn's name on it, but let me. But I used it to give Carol some notes. How many people are in here? About 700 right now. About 700. It's been a busy week. Less big economic data. Yeah, so we got consumer sentiment and inflation expectations data. All right, guys, so we are breaking down. I think the inflation expectations are the big one, but yeah, so University of Michigan inflation expectations data tends to be the most important. 1 in 5 year is what's going to influence the market. Alright guys, so yeah, we are scheduling the stream, kind of editing it so it can be so we can cover the inflation expectations report going live today. There we go. We got day trading. All right, cool. We are in there. No, it's not on you, Pawn. This is what it is, right? Like, look. Like, I had to change it. It had your name on it, but this is notes. When Carol ran the stream for Jerome Powell last week, she had no idea what she was talking about. Sounds like me. She had no idea what she was talking about. And so I had to give her kind of cliff notes. On what to say for the whole stream. The problem is that, like, she took the notes that I gave her and basically just, you know how, I know whenever I had to read a report in front of class, I'd get in front of class, dude, and I am speed reading this report super low. I'd be like, hello guys, my report's on this today, and I'm going to be doing this today, and this, and this. And I'd be talking really quiet, really nervous, didn't really know what to say. We're just kind of speed read through the report. That was Carol for my Jerome Powell stream. I love her. She did a great job. For all you know, considering everything, she did a good job. But she ended up just speed reading through the report really quietly. I had to turn her volume up drastically. I love her. She did a good job. You know. Yeah, I have a 5-minute chart up on my other monitors here. And so, like, I have, if you look at, like, my other monitors here, like, look, I'm not going to show you guys. This is my other monitor list. Because people will sometimes be like, hey, bro, you're not looking at this. You're not looking at the VWAP. You're not looking at this, and this. This is my other monitor right now. And so I'm looking at a whole, like, array of different symbols, 5-minute charts, 1-minute charts, stocks, big. I'm looking at most of the Mag 7 plus different time frames. I'm nearsighted. These are my glasses, bro. So I actually had the doctor. These are actually like computer glasses. Oh, speaking of Carol. Hey, baby, how you doing? You doing good? Alright guys, yeah, I have 2 monitors, but the bottom one, saying I only have 2 monitors is a little misleading. I have a 37-inch ultra wide on the top, which is what you guys see, and then the bottom monitor is a 49-inch ultra wide monitor. So this thing's freaking huge. Like, this is me looking at one end, that's the other end. So this thing literally is my whole peripheral vision. I can put up a bunch of charts, a bunch of things. It really helps me manage things. I bought it last year. Super useful. Yeah, Michigan is in 1 hour. I'm going to put a timer up here as well. Hey, baby, can you close this door? Can you close my door? Thank you. Love you. Sorry, Carol had the door open. Yeah, she did good, man. She did good. I needed somebody to cover it for me, so I can't really complain. You know. Well, when the market opens, anything can happen. Quantum stocks are interesting. What have they done over the last couple months? Let me see. What is it? QUBT is one, right? It's up huge today, but it's been on a big pullback. This thing got up to almost $30 a share. It's back down at 7s now. It got down to 5s. So quantum stocks have pulled back a lot recently. I think it's really early to tell. I'll be right back. I have to pee, so I'll be right back, guys. All right, so the market's kind of flat right now. Going back and forth, up and down. Second half of March is historically the best 2 to 3 weeks in stocks. Maybe. Yeah, I got the G9 one, Tommy. So yeah, I got a G9. That's what it is. I don't know if it was the G7 or G9. It was one of those. Honestly, they gave me a monitor first. I bought one, came home, installed it, and when I turned it on, it was broken. Got super mad, had to return it and go get another one. I definitely watch my hands, bro. Does this news have a high impact on markets? It might. We don't know. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Ulta. Ulta's the makeup company, right? I hate this store. Bro, I get a headache just looking at the name Ulta. It's like an overstimuli thing. Like overstimulated, go in there. There's smells and it's bright. Everything's bright. Looks like I walked into Tron every time I walk into Ulta. Is that Ulta or is that Sephora? One of them is like you walked into Tron, but the makeup version of Tron. And then the other one is pretty chill, actually. I don't know which one's which. There's Sephora and Ulta. Anybody that's married or, anybody that uses those stores knows what I'm talking about. Which one's Tron? I think Sephora might be Tron. You walk into Sephora, it's like bright lights, mirrors everywhere, you know. Sephora is usually less stressful. Or Ulta is usually less stressful. All right, so we are falling down here. Here's the 200 exponential. No, I'm pretty sure Sephora is the Tron one. The one at the mall is Sephora, and that's the one that's Tron. Ulta is usually a little bit less lighting. Friday's a weird day to trade. Sometimes we get choppiness on Friday. You got to think about the dynamic of this, which is that big money moves markets. Big money's got big money. So what are they doing? Sometimes they're going on vacation. Sometimes they're taking long weekends. Sometimes they're just not trading on Friday. And so what that does is reduces liquidity. Wait. Today's not. Oh, next week is Quad Witch. So it just kind of reduces liquidity on Fridays, and that causes, you know, sometimes you get some weird choppiness. Is what it is. I can't justify buying Tesla. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Tesla, you know, trying to look at it optimistically. I think Tesla, you know, they're doing a lot of things right in terms of gathering data. They've been gathering data for a long time. That data is incredibly valuable. AI data, FSD data, that data is incredibly valuable. The problem, and again, like I have said this for years, the biggest risk to Tesla, which is what it ultimately has been playing out. Maybe we're in a freaking simulation. But the biggest risk to Tesla is Elon, and I don't think it's that hard to predict this, but is Elon is being too outspoken politically. And when you're selling things to consumers, I've literally said this verbatim for years. When you're selling things to consumers, that's bad. Being outspoken politically is bad, regardless of whether some people agree with you. And I think it's the wrong side. I think the people that are going to buy EVs are usually on the other side that he's against. And the people that he's supporting are usually big oil. Like, they're not going to buy EVs anyway. And so I think it's just a bad move. He needs to be very neutral politically if he's going to sell things to consumers, regardless of who else has done it in the past. I always say, oh, this company did it and this company did it. That's great. It's risky. It's a risky move. Regardless of, I'm very neutral politically, but if you think about it, like 40 to 50% of people side on each side, right? So being outspoken and really weighted to one side is going to do what? It's going to discourage the other side from buying your products. And that's what's happening right now, is that Tesla is getting really panic sells coming in because of everybody panicking. But yeah, the Robotaxi looked really cool, to be honest. I like the Cybertruck. You know, people hate on the Cybertruck. I think the Cybertruck's cool. Yeah, I think yeah. I think we're gonna see. I don't know. I think it's possible that we see him step down eventually, and that we see. And again, sometimes I say this, and you get people that are just so emotionally wrapped up in politics or Tesla, or they're so invested in Tesla, and they're so emotional about the swings that it's making that they kind of lash out at me. They kind of get mad at the messenger. When I'm not even saying I agree or disagree with any of it, I'm just saying the risks, and that's the risks for sure. And I think we might see him step down and take a more passive role in the company. If we continue to see big weakness in Tesla. If Tesla drops down to the $200 level, under 200, I think you might look for that. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows? You never know. It could also, he also could do really well. Tesla stock might bounce back big. You never know. Both of them are possible. So here's the weakness coming in markets. Markets red. What do you think about MicroStrategy and Coinbase? I think they're pegged to the price of Bitcoin. And so if you're bullish on Bitcoin, you can be bullish on those companies too. I've never been super interested in buying those companies just because I'd rather just buy Bitcoin directly. If I'm going to bet on Bitcoin, might as well bet on Bitcoin. Or at least like a Bitcoin ETF versus a company that has to get the company structure and organization right, as well as Bitcoin going up. I'd rather just take one of those stimuli out of it and just go Bitcoin going up. I'm going to buy Bitcoin, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. And I might be wrong. Again, Tesla might be a really good buy right here, too. I'm not saying it's not. Tesla might just rebound and rip up, and everybody's got a cheap entry. It's possible, too. What's the PE ratio of Tesla right now? I'm genuinely curious about this. It's got to be kind of low now, right? Bristol Myers gets expanded European approval for one of their drugs. BMW says U.S. tariffs to hit auto segment profitability. Yeah, we got GTC next week. We got the FOMC meeting. All right, guys. Hey, we got 11 minutes. All right, so Tesla PE ratio is 117. Is it still that high? Is it really that high still? Is it still in the hundreds after this big 50% drop in the last couple months? Let me see. Let's calculate the PE ratio ourselves. 66 cents. 62 cents. 42 cents. 35 cents. 205. 118 divided by 205. 57 PE ratio. It's not 116. AI is wrong. It's 57. It's still not good, but it's not 120 like AI said it was. So, still not really a good PE ratio. But what's your bias for NQ today? I really don't know. I think it depends on where we are. We're kind of at a neutral level for me. I think if we break down under 19.4s, I'm going to be more bearish. If we get under 19.4s, if we stay over 19.4s, I'm kind of neutral. If we get over 19.6, especially 20,000 or 19.6 to 20,000, I'm definitely more optimistic. But we're kind of in a neutral range here for me personally. Yeah, I mean, I think the robotaxis are really cool. Palantir experiencing a massive dip, massive pullback, but it's up some today. It's at 83s. Good company, super overextended short term. The PE ratio is like 500, so it's just too high for me. Maybe it keeps going up. It's momentum heavy right now, so it's possible, but I'm not interested in buying it. Again, remember, I'm not an investment professional, guys. I'm not liable if you lose, not liable for anything. Understand CFTC 4.41. If you want to check out Top Step, though, I've been day trading on Top Step this week. I'm up a lot over the last few days. We ended up making a couple hundred yesterday. Again, Top Step gives you a demo. The base one's 50K. This is what you see me trading here. I'm going to switch to my funded account after the opening bell. If I can make 3K in profit on this 50K demo before I lose 2K first, following their rules and conditions, and you want to confirm it all with them, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. But if I can do that, they fund me 50K with a 90% split. It's only $49 to try the challenge. It's a great way to test your skill, and it's a beautiful middle ground of pressure. You still have some pressure. You're still risking something. If you fail, you're only out what you pay for it. In this case, it's $49, and then you can use a practice account they include with real-time data if you do fail. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K in profit on that funded account as well. And so if you're good enough, you can then withdraw and fund your own account. If you fail, you're out $49. It's the best of both worlds. In the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, gold, some currencies, very similar to day trading stocks. Great way to learn how to day trade, and they're the most legit one in the world. They've paid out almost $200 million in the last few years. They fund thousands of traders. They pay out millions in withdrawals. Just a great way to learn how to day trade. And most day traders lose. Doesn't matter what course you take, who you follow. Most day traders lose. And so you can either fund your own account trying to look cool and probably lose, or you can try this, and if you fail, it's not the end of the world. If you pass it, 90% split, very similar to funding your own account anyway. But again, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. If you want to check it out, here's the link. Link is in the chat right now. Sorry, my dogs are barking. Yeah, so I've been kind of muting my mic a little bit because the dogs are barking. So if the dogs start barking, it's not that my mic is cutting out. It's that I'm intentionally muting my mic as they bark. And so sometimes if I'm talking and I mute it, it sounds like it's getting cut off or lagging. But it's really just me muting my mic when my dogs are barking. Let the dogs trade for me? Really? They might be the top 3 greatest dog traders of all time. Also, guys, again, if you haven't already, check out our x.com. Give me a follow at Beginner Trades. Here's the link if you want to check out our latest post. Completely free. We give a daily breakdown of everything going on in finance. Most of the time we do 2 posts. If we have economic data like we're doing one now that breakdowns everything, expectations, all the different finance news and economic news. And then if we have big economic data, we also do another post recapping what that data did to markets, what it means, what it showed up as, all that good stuff. One-stop shop for economics and finance. Hit the follow button. There it is right there in chat. We also going to cover University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations data coming out in 35 minutes right here. 35 minutes. You can see the timer on the right side of the stream. We are now really in a kind of middle range for me in my trading. I've been waiting. Are your dogs smug? Rosie definitely is. Bruce is not. Rosie definitely is, though. And you know what's funny? It's like people will talk about, they'll insult me as a trader, right? They'll be like, oh, John sucks, or John's not good, or whatever it is, right? And then when I respond to that, and I'm like, hey, look at this trade. Hey, look, I called this correctly. Trying to show them like, hey, I don't suck. then they say, oh, this dude's bragging. And so one of the things haters will do is they'll play both sides. They will criticize or say something like, a lot of the time they'll say something like super disrespectful. Sometimes they said stuff about like my family or my wife. And then when I respond negatively, they'll play the other side, be like, bro, this dude interacts and talks about his haters so much. What the heck? And so they'll literally play both sides. It's got to be kind of a miserable existence. But I guess I'm just pointing that out there so you guys understand what it is, like what's actually going on. Sometimes it's the same person, and they're literally logging out of one account, logging into another. You know, it's got to be a weird existence being that guy, though. But, you know, people are strange. They're just mad, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's the internet. You also know, like, most of the biggest haters are really people who have tried to be YouTubers before and failed at it. You know, and so for whatever reason, they're just so bitter that, like, they can't help but watch and talk smack, you know. Most of the time, the reason they failed, though, were something they did wrong. Like, they blame it on all these other people and things, but most of the time, they're just doing some stuff wrong. My Palantir 78 puts are fried. You still got, I mean, when do they expire, Brian? It depends on when they expire. We got 2 minutes left until the market opens. All right, Microsoft just had a big dump down here. Let me see if there's any news correlating with this. Whoa, we're getting some volatility show up just now. Tesla popping up, Microsoft going down. It's lonely at the top, John. Yes, sir. Curtis, again, I'm going to preface this with I'm not a real estate professional. My license is inactive, and none of this is real estate advice. The real estate should not. The real estate agent has a fiduciary duty to look out in your best interest. Coming from somebody that I have my license, it's inactive, but I do have my license. Real estate agents have a fiduciary duty to look out in your best interest at all times. And so if they're getting mad at you for backing out of a deal justifiably, I would change agents personally. Again, I'm not a real estate agent. I can't be your agent. I'm not going to be anybody's agent. But if it was me, I'm not working with them anymore, right? It usually means they're struggling and they don't really know what to do, and they're struggling and they really need that commission check. But you know, they're supposed to look out in your best interest, and trying to force you into buying a house with bad terms, it's not really the best fiduciary, you know, reflection. All right, guys. Hey, we got 45 seconds. 45 seconds. All right, hopefully we get some good trades in today. We'll see how it looks. Oof. All right, 20 seconds, guys. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. Yeah, I mean, buyer's agents are usually more rookie agents. They usually have the less amount of experience. Experienced agents are usually seller's agents, or they run their own team. All right, there's the opening bell, guys. But yeah, it's a bad sign. I'll put it that way. It's not a good sign. They should understand completely, you know. Now, it depends on the deal you're getting. If you're still getting a really good deal and you're backing out over like little semantics like that you shouldn't be backing out on, that's a different thing. In that case, they might want to drop you as an agent. But it depends. Like if you're still getting a crazy good deal that they've argued for you, and like the damages are very minor that you could fix for like $1,000, and you're still trying to back out of it or something, that's a different story. But again, it's hard to tell without that context. Anyways, market's going up a little bit since the opening bell. The market's going up. NASDAQ's moving up a little bit. I'm looking at this 450 level right here. I think 450 makes sense to pay attention to. But we have AVGO, Broadcom moving up, Google moving up, Microsoft bouncing back a little bit, Palantir bouncing back some, Tesla bouncing back some. Palantir's still moving. All right, guys. Tesla ripping back up almost to 250. Broadcom up there too. Yeah, I mean, somebody's saying I'm not locked in. I don't trade the first 5 minutes. Nobody. I mean, I'm definitely not trading the first 5 minutes. It doesn't make any sense to. I gotta wait a couple minutes at least till the market opens. Again, really, I think the market could also behave in a choppy way if it is waiting for the University of Michigan data. It could also be moving really choppy as well. Is Apple going? Gosh, Rosie, baby. What are you doing? Get out of here. Rosie. I know. She's okay, baby. Hey, she's okay. See, Rosie's getting nervous because we got contractors here. You hear Rosie cry. It's okay, baby. It's all right. All right, guys. So market pushed up. I'm letting the first couple minutes pass. Haters gonna hate, just confirmation you're doing a good job. Yeah, for sure. You know you're doing something right. Yeah, Apple is ripping up. Sheesh. Here, baby, it's open still. I'm sorry, baby. Here, yeah, you gotta close the door. Sorry, my dogs are panicking right now. Market's ripping up though. All right, so we are now 5 minutes after the open. We'll see if we get anything good. Definitely getting some strength. I'll buy a pullback, but I need it down to this level here at 513s. I need a pullback first to buy. Rosie's complaining about the market volatility. She's a good dog. Rosie's my baby, dude. She is such a sweet dog. She cares about us so much that, like, if she thinks we're in danger, anytime we got contractors over, she thinks we're in danger. And so she just cries and cries and tries to, like, force her way out there. That's what you heard just now, is her freaking out. All right, so we are getting a dip. I'm going to start to take one. I didn't really get much. There we go. There we go. I will add more to this too on a pullback. Right, we're gonna take some off here. We got take some more off there. Cut the rest. I think we're gonna pull back. So we just made about 100 and well, we made about 225 just now. So 225. Market's starting to pop up. We will start shorting up here now. And we're going to slowly add. This is a challenge account. We're going to trade this for a little bit until the volatility settles down some. We're going to kind of DCA into this short term. But if we fail this, we're just going to switch to our funded account and play with that. We might lose this thing. I told myself I wasn't going to go crazy big size, but Nvidia's ripping back up too quickly, so it's not looking good. Still optimistic, but again, this is our challenge account, so you'll see how we switch to our funded account and trade differently on that thing once we do. I got a lot of distractions right now too. I got people working outside. You can hear it. Listen to it. I'm going to lighten the size some here. And maybe add it back. I want a bounce back here. Alright, so there's the size added back. Ugh. Alright, we're going to switch to our funded account. That's our second challenge account that we've blown. You don't love to see it, but we've actually been doing pretty good on our funded accounts here. Here's our actual stats from our funded accounts. So this is our stats yesterday. All right, now we're just not going to trade against the trend. It's not renovations. They're just contractors. They're cutting some trees down in our yard. And so that's what you hear, them cutting trees down right now. I got dogs crying. I got contractors cutting trees down. I got Carol letting the dogs in here. You know, a lot of stimulus going on my end. Honestly, we're okay though. Like I said, we lost like $50 on that last one. Market's ripping up ahead of consumer sentiment data too. You know, I think it's possible we get better than expected inflation data today, and that might make the market rip back up. I also think it's possible we move sideways. And so we're going to start with one micro contract. If we get a dip down to this level, we'll buy it. That's close enough. We'll take one micro contract, maybe add to two. Trading with the trend here. All right, took half off. Took another piece off. So we just made about $25 on that bounce. So not bad. Green on the day. I wonder why this isn't loading. Let me refresh. Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. I'll put it up so y'all can actually see I'm green on the day now with this P&L. Hey, did you donate, Adam? Thank you, brother. QBTS still going so well. Hey, thank you, bro. Yeah, so I didn't actually lose $2,000, guys, just to put this into perspective. Again, that was a funded account challenge. This is my actual funded account that you see on screen right now. So we're actually up $20-something on our actual funded account. The other one was a demo account that, again, I trade in pre-market to not burn too much real money. Again, for the demo account, it's a top step challenge. They give you a 50K demo. You got to make 3K without losing 2K. So I take more risk in those because I got to make 3K in profit to get funded. But I actually have 3 actual funded accounts, which is what I'm actually trading on now. Just to put it into perspective, I didn't just lose $2,500. That's not what I did. That would have sucked if I did, but yeah, that's not what happened. Again, if you want to try Top Step, link is in the description. Shameless plug. Check them out. We got 20 minutes before the University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. So look, we did bounce right at 560s. I'm still kind of tempted to buy the dip. Let me see. Hold on. There we go. All right, so we did honestly break over. So remember what I said, guys. Do y'all remember what I said about my level that makes me bullish? It was 19.6, I think, right? Wasn't it 19.6? I'm pretty sure it was. It might be 19.65 up here. I can't remember what it was. Dude, does anybody remember what the level I said, like, was the level at which I go bullish? I think it was 19.6, but I might be wrong. I think I said 19.6 to 20,000 was the level. The data's not out yet. You gotta research it, Robert. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, 19.4? Okay. Did I really say 19.4? No, I think 19.4 was my level at which I'm gonna be bearish. 19.4 was my bear level. So I said if it breaks under 19.4, I'm bearish. There was a bull level range that I gave. I think it was 19.6. So again, 19.4 was my bear level. I'm trying to think of what my bull level was. Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation data at 10 a.m. The title? Yeah. We're live trading. We got Michigan consumer sentiment data in 18 minutes. Does anybody remember what I said? You said, okay, yeah. So YouTuber said, you said 19.6 to 20. Yeah, that's what I thought I did. And if that's the case, look at this 19.6 level. So again, here's 19.6 right here. We literally tapped 19.6. Consumer sentiment isn't inflation. So, pew pew. You got to understand what's actually being released at 10 a.m. today. So again, at 10 o'clock today, you have five major metrics that are coming out at 10 o'clock today. And this happens every 2 weeks in markets. Five major metrics. You have University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. You have University of Michigan current conditions data. Again, the current consumer sentiment expectation is 63.1. You have University of Michigan consumer expectation data. That's the three consumer related data that you get dropping at 10 a.m. today. Not only do we have those three, but the last two that have really been moving markets more than anything recently is the University of Michigan 1 year inflation expectations and 5 year inflation expectations. Those are getting released in 16 minutes. Those have been really market moving, really influential over markets over the last couple months. The last prelim 1 year inflation expectations reading showed up at 4.3%, which was way higher than people expected it 2 weeks ago. Or no, this was like a month ago. And this dumped markets a month ago. Now we're getting the updated prelim inflation expectations 1 year and 5 year data at 10 o'clock today. What moves markets might change month to month, quarter to quarter. Recently, these University of Michigan things have been moving markets, especially the inflation expectations. And so that's what we're covering today. Well, we didn't really break over 19.6. It's about sentiment. Like, if we break over 19.6 and hold, I'm going to be more optimistic. But the market is speculative. Of course it is. So it's the University of Michigan, Ryan. It's not just specifically for the state of Michigan. It is the University of Michigan compiling the data. So they're the ones putting out they're not talking about just Michigan. They're talking about the countrywide data. But it's from the University of Michigan. That's why we call it Michigan Consumer Sentiment. All right, so again, we got up to 19.6. Why that university? Because, yeah, they're a finance-related one. So QBTS up to 9. So if somebody gave me a donation, talked about QBTS. It's running right now, too. It's at $9 a share, rebounding big. Quantum stocks bouncing back a lot today. We get underneath this level, I'm going to be looking bearish here. But I do like a pullback bounce. Depending on what markets do. Let's see. I don't know. I think we could also trend sideways here. Yeah, QBTS is flying right now. Big moves. All right, guys. Hey, we got 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Gold? Where's gold at? Is gold still ripping? It's still under 3. It's testing it now. This looks pretty good, honestly. Let me see if I can buy a dip here. I'm going to buy this dip. There's a pop. Let's see if we move up and I can add to it. Taking a little bit too long here. I'm gonna cut that. We made a little bit, but very small. It's taking too long. It might continue ripping back up. It's just taking too long for me. Let's see. Ten minutes left, chat. See, I should have held. All right, we're going to do a last little poll here. See, look, there's the pop. See, this is what we wanted the whole time, too. But just got scared out of it for whatever reason. Are you bullish or bearish on today's Mitch? All right, are you bullish or bearish on today's University of Michigan sentiment and inflation expectations data? Vote on the poll. There's the poll live right there. Let me know how you feel. We're still at that 19.6 level. Microsoft bouncing back up. Tesla bouncing back up too. QBTS, the story is quantum stocks. Quantum stocks. Look at this big rally here, chat. Up to 620s. Nvidia's starting to make a move, test 120s. Nvidia right at 20s. See ya. And which city is MIT? Isn't it in... It's either Boston or New York, right? It's in Massachusetts. Yeah. It's Boston, basically. right, so we're gonna buy 3 contracts here, and we're gonna see if we get a quick little pop up. We'll add to this here. Take some off here. There we go. Quick little retracement back down. See if NVIDIA makes another tap. We're slightly red on the day now. I'll let it test my my resistance level here, my stop level here, but it's not looking good. This is right around my stop. Yeah, we gotta cut it. Oh, we only cut one. There's to cut both of them, but it's all right. Slightly down on the day now. We got one little micro. I guess we could let that hold here. We got 7 minutes left. Alright, so we got 2 contracts again here. We'll add to it here, play with this. We got the big rebound back up. We're now kind of flat here. Four contracts. There you go. What a bad fill on that one, but it's all right. I think it retraced quickly. What a rip. All right, so we got ourselves back to green on the day on a really nice trade targeting this bounce. We got barely stopped out of some of it here, but we're back green on the day. Yeah, we got the Michigan data coming out in 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know what you guys should do. Everybody's asking me what to do. I really don't know. I kind of got back and forth, a little choppiness today, up and down, but I haven't been shorting anything. We got the Michigan data coming out in like 5 minutes too, and so generally we're going to get up and down sideways action ahead of this Michigan data. You never really know, but that's generally what we get. We're up a small amount on the day, but green nonetheless, so that's good. Better than nothing. Let me get the music playing here again. Four minutes. We're hitting this level here. I'm wondering if we're gonna bounce. Yeah, look at that. All right, guys, we got 3.5 minutes. We got about 900 people watching here, which is really bad, honestly, for a 10 a.m. stream for beginner trading. All right, guys, Apple consolidating. A lot of stuff's waiting on this data. We'll see what it looks like. All right, guys, here we go. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes left. Yeah, I'm kind of slowing down. Hey, what's up, Analog? What's up, dude? Yeah, y'all be safe. Market's a little sketchy. 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes left, really. Two minutes left, chat. 2 minutes. I'm gonna put the support level here. I think that makes more sense. Can we break 1,000 people here for this stream? Hit the like button next to the play button. Hit the subscribe button, guys. We appreciate the love. Remember the Fed meeting next week. That's big, too. We're going to cover it live like we always do here. A minute and a half left, chat. A minute and a half left. You guys ready? What's your predictions for this data? Good or bad reaction? We did a poll asking people what they thought would happen here. And, let's see what they said. Most people thought 58% are bullish, 42% are bearish. Less than a minute, guys. 1 minute. 1 minute. Swan, check out the site if you want to check them out, man. Link is in the description. They got all the rules on the site. We're covering Michigan data. We're breaking down right now. Let's see what we get here. 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. And we're going to do a countdown here, but 30 seconds. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to self-count it down. 25 seconds. $15 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're not delayed. You can also put it in 2x speed. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report. Inflation, everything was lower than expected, guys, for consumer and sentiment, expectations, conditions, lower than expected. Inflation expectations went up 4.9% for 1 year inflation expectations versus 4.3% last time, 4.9% this time. 1 year went up as well, 0.4% increase from last time at 3.5. It showed up at 3.9% today, 3.9%. I'm shorting this. It's a little risky, but I'm doing it. 3.9%. All right, we just made another $30 here. Look, everything was worse than expected. Worse than expected consumer sentiment, conditions, inflation expectations, consumer expectations, everything. Again, 4.9%. 1 year or 5 year inflation expectations showed 4.9% here, guys. Way worse. 3.9% for 5 year inflation expectations. And the market obviously did not like this report at all. We'll see if it continues down. I'll put this data up in chat. Again, 1 year inflation expectations. This is what's moving markets, is the 1 year probably. 1 year, 4.9% versus 4.3% expected. 5 year showed up at 3.9 versus 3.5%. I'm putting this up in chat. There's the link. Consumer sentiment showed up at 57.9 versus 63, so worse sentiment data as well. It's all in chat right now. And this is a bearish report, I think, here. It's high inflation, weak consumer sentiment. Stagflation is, again, I think this shows some stagflation too. I'm kind of bearish on this report, but it doesn't mean anything. I'm going to short. Yeah, I'm going to short. And we'll add to it if we get some cushion here. go. Now we took half off there, locked it in. We'll add some to this too. We got a nice cushion on the day now. There we go. Took half off there, locked that in too. We'll cover the rest break even. But I'd love to see it break down some more here. There we go. I'm gonna cut that right there. So we just made a good bid again. We're up about 100 on the day here. Pretty good week. I don't know if I want to short this now. And again, I'm trading on Top Steps funded account program. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on a 50K demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K with a 90% split, and they paid out almost 200 million since 2020. They fund thousands of traders. It's a great way to learn how to day trade. They're an affiliate of mine. Some would say I'm the top 3 most biased person ever in the world right now. They give me a demo, test my skill. If I pass the test, they fund me. If I fail, I only lose the base $59 or $49 for the base one. It's not the end of the world if I lose. Understand CFTC 4.41. Again, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm not an investment professional. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. But honestly, most day traders lose. And so if you try to fund your own account, especially in the beginning, you're probably going to lose thousands of dollars if you deposit thousands of dollars into an account. It makes no sense. Don't try to look cool. Instead, learn how to day trade. It takes profitable traders years to learn, and most day traders lose regardless of where they go. And so it makes no sense to fund your own account and lose while you're learning. Instead, try this. It gives you some pressure. You're risking $49, so you're still risking something. But if you fail, you're out $50. It's not the end of the world. They then give you a practice account that you can learn to trade on. If you pass it, again, you got to make 3K without losing 2K. They fund you 50K with a 90% split. It's just the best of both worlds. In the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, gold, some currencies. This will be my last plug of the day here. There's the link in chat. But again, I still think the market's going to break down. There's the link if you want to check it out. Again, I'm biased. I get paid, so I'm biased. But I think we're probably going to break down some more here today. I don't know how we can't break down in this report, but of course anything could freaking happen. Like there's always variance, but I'll be surprised if we don't fall down some more from this report. But again, do not copy me. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. Market might rip up in my face, you know. So the government shutdown was averted already, Corey, which is one of the reasons the market bounced back a little bit today, is because they did get the deal done for the government shutdown. I'm pretty sure they got it done. So that is averted. That didn't happen anymore. Again, I'll be surprised if we don't fall down some more here, but you never know how the market's going to respond. It's like I always say, there's a lot of variance that happens with things. Yeah, I might be overrating this. That's possible too. And again, the market doesn't mean anything, but I'll be surprised if we don't turn. Yeah, that might be true, Tony. You might be right. Like, we didn't get a bounce from the shutdown news. You know, this is just University of Michigan consumer data, but I do think it negatively influenced the market last time. We showed up at really hot numbers, and today we showed up with hot inflation numbers again. And so I don't think it's good, but again, time will tell. You got to wait and let it play out first. Like, I shorted originally because I was riding that initial sentiment rush. But again, I'm flat now. I don't trust anything enough to actually take a position, but I still will be surprised if we bounce all the way back. Amazon reportedly made at least $100 million from the Mr. Beast show, according to the Wall Street Journal. This might be good for cutting rates. Yeah, and that might be another reason the market goes up. You could also certainly argue that, where, you know, it might increase the probability of a rate cut. At the same time, though, the inflation data kind of doesn't indicate that, right? Like, the Fed's more likely to cut rates if we get weak economy data, but we get reasonable inflation data. And that's not really what we're seeing here. We're seeing high inflation data, which actually means we're less likely to cut, because cutting would stimulate the economy more, not less, and ultimately drive inflation potentially higher. And so, yeah, this is actually bad for both fronts. And which is why I'm surprised the market's bouncing back, because inflation data was high, indicating less likelihood of rate cuts. Consumer sentiment is low, indicating more of a need to cut rates. And so both of them are bad in the same way. But again, it's still early, and the market's just a different animal. The variance is so high. Like I said, I have no freaking idea what the market's going to do. And I'm not confident enough in anything. I don't really like buying it because this data just came out, but I also don't like shorting it because the market's looking strong. Yeah, the inflation print is what, 1% up? 1% higher is a lot. It's not nothing. Again, we'll see if what I think is logical happens, which is a turnaround to the downside here. There's a little bit of one now. Interest rates should drop because market is in a downward trend. Well, the market and the economy are different things. The market can do whatever it wants. It doesn't mean interest rates are going to go down. All right, so here's a turnaround to the downside. Yeah, I know truflation is more real time for sure, but these are inflation expectations over the next 1 and 5 years. And so while a lot of inflation data is lagging, these are inflation expectations over the next year. This is guidance for inflation, which is typically more influential and relevant, which is why I thought the market might turn, and it's starting to turn back down to the downside. Yeah, the day's long. A lot of potential moves playing out. And so, yeah. Gold's popping up too, but gold's back over 3. Yeah, I mean, we've been trading since well before 2020. Like, we've been trading live on YouTube since way before 2020. Yep, here we go. Here's a flush. We're hitting the 200 exponential right here, though, so we could have a short-term bounce at least right here. Well, we got a little bounce, but now we're still falling here. I love your channel. I appreciate it, bro. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You do a good job. Hey, thank you, Alberto. I appreciate it. Yeah, so look, here's the 200 exponential bounce. I hope you guys, if you guys can learn anything, and again, I hope you guys don't copy me, obviously. I'm not an investment professional. I say this a million times. But I hope you guys can understand what I'm using to gauge levels. Because 200 exponential, which is exact, like, remember, I literally just said, hey, we might get a bounce here. Look at the bounce happening. I'm not bragging. I'm trying to hope you, like, reinforce, watch the 200 exponential on a 1-minute chart. The market really, truly does respect the 200 exponential. Like, you get all these people that watch all these different moving averages, and people think they're useless because people overuse moving averages. They use the 9, the 12, the 15, the 18, the 21, the SMA, the EMA, and all this different stuff. Short-term moving averages are mostly nonsense. But when you have the really long-term moving averages like the 150 or the 100 or the 200, these are such long-term moving averages that they're milestone levels in technical traders' charts, right? So like a lot of traders are using these as milestone levels to buy off of. Algorithms are using these levels to buy off of. And so that's how you're able to see the 200 EMA right here and make that prediction of like, hey, we're probably going to at least get a short-term bounce. Maybe we get a long-term bounce here, but at the very least, we got a little pop at that 200 exponential. And think of that in terms of like a scalping strategy perspective. There's some money there. Like that shouldn't mean dollar signs for some of you guys. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to trade. Most day traders lose. But I hope all that makes sense, you know. And as I said, look, we bounced at the 200 exponential, short-term bounce. Now we're coming back down. Let's see if we hold now. This is a big moment in this chart pattern, because I think if we break under 500 like we're doing now, really weak. Really weak. Yep. Well, I don't really like crossovers that much either. Also, the one I use on my charts is the 200 exponential, if you're wondering. It's the 200 EMA is what I use. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah. I mean, we predicted this too, but I wish I would have made some money on it. I'm kind of... It's the weekend, guys. I got a long weekend ahead of me. I got some stuff going on, so I don't really... I'm green on the day, nicely green. We made a bunch from this. We made some from it. And so I'm going to celebrate my wins. And, again, confidence building. So, there's the pull down. I'm watching the NASDAQ, which is basically the QQQ. So there's the turn. I mean, again, like, pay attention to data. This is why I told people, like, as soon as I saw this economic data print, I said this is bad. You know, you got to understand, every single consumer report metric was weaker than expected. So a weak economy. So recession fears, right? Like, weak economy, recession fears. We also had increased inflation expectations. So they think inflation is going to get worse than originally anticipated over the next 1 to 5 years. And so even if we end up ripping up in everybody's face, like, I think the logic makes sense of, like, paying attention to that data and then watching the reaction over the next, like, 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes longer. And so I hope all that makes sense. Some people are going to say it's just luck, but if it is luck, bro, I'm one of the top 3 luckiest traders of all time ever in the world. I'm going to get out of here. Hey, I love you all. Y'all have a great, happy, safe weekend. Y'all be safe this weekend. Markets can get crazy. Gold's at all-time highs. Fear in the economy is looming. Next week, we got the FOMC decision. We got retail sales data going live. So y'all just be ready. It's a crazy week next week. We're going to cover all of it live like we do here on this channel. We're going to stream it all live right here on Beginner Trading. So, hey, I appreciate the love. Thanks so much for all the support this week. It's been a fun week. And, yeah, y'all be good. Have a great weekend. Y'all be safe. Appreciate the love. And, yeah, as always, guys, remember, I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Understand CFTC 4.41. I appreciate the love. Y'all have a great weekend.